think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews,
the latter-day prophet,
saying against the hypocrisies of our time,
and Joe Hakos.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
And yes, you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, and we're glad to have you with us. Another great day in the greatest country in the world, and we're so glad you took the time to join us today. We're glad to have you with us, and we're going to try to, I think, maybe conclude in some manner or form our ongoing conversation today on the situation with the media. Not that we're going to just set it off to the side and leave it alone. We'll certainly continue to bring you examples and illustrations as to just how, compliant the media has been in inclusion. You know, I was thinking about this morning. One thing about the election cycle that we just went through last year, and I know I've probably said it before, but it's just something that keeps that echo in my ears, it just keeps coming back, is that the collusion, corruption, complicity, all the bad things that you don't want out of elected representatives were on total display during this last general election. And I think what really astounds me, and in some ways overwhelms me, is the fact to the depth of which all three, Congress, the media, and the establishment, are in bed with each other. I just, I think there's been probably since the beginning of time when government was first formed, there's always been critics of whatever is taking place in any particular government. That goes with, that's what politics is about. But to the degree that we have seen it in this country over the last election cycle, just goes to prove this goes way beyond the Barack Obama administration. We can go back several decades here and find at some point in time there was a major paradigm shift in those we elected who decided, hey, let's all get together and let's share the wealth and let's share the power. And don't be under the illusion. I'm no longer under the illusion that it's really one party that wants more power than the other. I think it's just a matter of semantics in some ways, that they really don't care who's in power as long as their respective positions and money and wealth and everything that they accumulate while they're in Congress is preserved. Doesn't make any difference. I don't see the Republicans acting any different now than they did when Barack Obama was in, and I don't believe they'd act too much different if Hillary Clinton had been elected. It's just like, it's resistance, but it's resistance under the guise of governing, and they have redefined what that means. So it's complicated, it's complex, because we as the average American, we expect, hey, we as your constituency, as your constituents tell you what we want, we elect you, and you go do what we want. And that is no longer the case, probably hasn't been the case longer than most of us would care to admit. And so we're just trying to do what we can do in this show to expose that and place some context to it, and hopefully ignite you or incite you, whichever word you choose. Inspire you is a word I like, to get off your ass and do something about it. And quit electing these people in office that just keep using us every 2, 4, 6 years to maintain and preserve their power. That's my little mini sermon of the day. So having said that, let me get my cohort on here. Joe, how are you doing today?
I'm good, John. I think what we expected our elected government to be honorable, but it's not been honorable. Actually, probably my entire lifetime. Really, if you come to think about it, it's not been honorable since before I was born. Yeah. And seriously, I'm serious. The way Kennedy got elected, and then LBJ, and then obviously Nixon, and these people, we expected our government to be of honorable people, and they are have become less and less honorable. And you watch them, and you go, they're not honest with you. They're not forthright. They say things. You just take those Republicans that said we need the House, then we need the Senate, and we need give us the White House. And now they got all three, and they're sitting there, and it's like, well, we're going to be held accountable for something if we do something. So they're not being honorable one bit, not one iota. No. And that's the problem. Until they become honorable, we'll never get rid of this. President Trump right now is there on an island fighting it, and poor little Gilligan. What he doesn't realize is some of the people that came with him on the boat are not working with him.
Yeah, and having no intention of working with him. Yeah,
absolutely. And so I don't know if they're going to wait to throw somebody in the volcano or what. I don't know what it's going to take, but these people, I just it's just amazing to me what's going. And then and part of the problem, and Limbaugh was saying that what do you call it? The deep state. Those folks that are left over from whatever past regimes that were in place. I mean, we're all talking. It's the same thing. It's the entrenched establishment that cares nothing about whatever except their own power. And what kills me, what's really annoys the crap out of me, is these employees that might be in civil service, quote unquote, civil service. I don't think people realize, but those people take an oath just like you do in the military or just like they do in Congress or the president. They take an oath to support and defend the Constitution.
Yeah, I agree. I know that my stint in civil service was with the Department of Defense. It was in the accounting field. But I also, one thing I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, I was middle management, all right? That means I was constantly interacting with upper echelon and lower echelon. I was receiving my walking orders from upper echelon to disperse to the lower echelon. And one thing I noticed in the 13 years that I was involved with these people, the more and more that I watched and listened during meetings and things like this, the more and more I realized that when you get to a certain pay grade in civil service, you are, for all intents and purposes, a political operative.
Yeah.
And you have to function as a political operative. One of the things that I remember one of my supervisors, a GS-13 housing supervisor, once said to me, John, you're a bright guy. You're articulate. You're intelligent. You know how to fix problems. But you have one major flaw. And I said, what's that? And he says, you don't see gray. And he said, you see everything black and white. And when you get up into leadership, you have to see gray. And I remember looking at him and go, well, if that's the case, then I don't want your job. I can't. I'm not going to compromise what I know to be true to be and what's right, just for a paycheck. I can't do that. Call me weird, but that's the way I was raised. Principle over everything, and that's it. But it is amazing that that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about people that have become entrenched because at some point in their life they began to collaborate as operatives with people in higher positions with influence that wanted a certain agenda or agendas fulfilled. And the more cooperative you are, the more collusive you are, the more conspiratorial you are, the better, the higher you're going to move up in the ranks. And I know some people that moved up pretty fast because of their ability to kiss ass, and it's amazing. It's amazing to watch. And I'm not so sure. I don't know if we'll ever get close to being the republic we were back before our lifetime, Joe. The year I was born was Eisenhower's last term. I was born the year he was elected for his last term. And at 4 years old when Kennedy was elected, so I have no understanding of what was going on in politics at that time, except my family deitized the Kennedy family. But even that didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, it is what it is now, and we haven't really had, I think, outside of Reagan, but even Reagan. See, Reagan had his flaws too. A lot of people, he has some things that he did that wasn't on the up and up, but yeah. But the point being is the overall effect that he had on this country. I don't think there's any other president that ever had that kind of influence and was able to accomplish as much as he did in the 8 years that he was in office. Anyway, we got to go to a break. When we get back, we'll get into today's festivities. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
We're not arguing. We're explaining why we're right. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
All right, hey, we're back. And this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. You know, we were just talking before the break about the honor and the integrity that is so lacking from the political arena that Joe and I both grew up in, and I'm sure many of you have grown up in. I doubt, I don't know how many listeners we have that were born before the Kennedy era, but that's pretty much covers where Joe and I are at in the spectrum. Like I said, I was born during Eisenhower's last term, the year he was elected for his last term, but I didn't know anything about politics. In fact, I'd have to be honest and say I was pretty ignorant of politics till I went into the military in 1972 and got a rude awakening to what the world is really about. So, and we have been very lacking in character and integrity and, the concern of our elected officials to place country over their own interests. And in line with that, I want to just have some fun with this. We're going to spend a little time talking about this. I thought, I just feel in kind of a light mood today. I don't want to get so hardcore, hairy, scary kind of stuff right now. Maybe we'll evolve into that later on. But there was an article that came out in Time magazine last week. Barack Obama ranked 12th best U.S. president ever in major survey of historians. All right? And it's interesting how they did this. This was basically, I guess, conducted by C-SPAN, and it involved their selection. They put together, like, I guess you want to call a committee of some sort that decided based on different characterizations or character traits of each president where they scored, and then overall where that score put them in terms of how great they were overall. And the first thing I did was I went on and looking at the actual presidents and the order. Barack Obama, number 12, that kind of, my bias kicked in. I'm saying, yeah, sure, and pigs fly, all right? But these guys are ranking it. These people are ranking it. So the first thing I did was I looked at who participated in this. Who were the people that came together and put this list together? And I went to the website on C-SPAN where this survey was published. And there is probably in the neighborhood, I would imagine somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 people making this committee. I'm guessing. I'm not going to sit here and count it, but probably close to 100 people make up this committee. The vast majority of them are college professors. Now, it doesn't take any stretch of the imagination when we look at our college campuses today. How many objective college professors have you heard of lately, Joe?
Let's see. There was one guy in UCLA that the other day I saw, but there might be a handful in our whole damn nation.
Yeah, well, there's very few on this list that are not from colleges.
Yeah, this list, I'm looking at this list, and it's like, okay. There's some from the Naval Academy. They're all.
They got one person. They got one person from Hillsdale College, Burton Folsom.
Yeah.
Okay. They've got several historians, but historians are basically professors that never taught. But most of them, Harvard Law School, Rutgers, Pennsylvania State University. You know, these are, and then here's one that caught my eye. I recognize this name. Where's she at here? Cokie Roberts. Okay, Cokie Roberts is a journalist. She is a liberal journalist, very liberal journalist. She's a staple on CNN and MSNBC. So the point being, these are the people that are making decisions about who the greatest presidents are. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think anybody in this category can be totally objective. First of all, how do you rank a president like George Washington in this day and age? Somebody like John Adams in this day and age, the founders, the framers, how can we really, if we're really honest, how can we objectively rank them in terms of what type of men they were and how effective they were? Well, they would get high rankings with me by the very fact that they were able to put this republic together.
Let's just put it like this, John. And one of the categories that they rated these presidents on was pursued equal justice for all. All right? And you've got Barack Obama is number 3 in this category, behind LBJ and Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
If that ain't a bunch of bull crap, I don't know what is, because Barack Obama could give a flying rat's butt about someone that's my skin color or me, period. He did not believe in anything I believe in. He wasn't going to do anything to help me have any kind of equal justice. In fact, he did things that went unequal justice.
Well, here, I agree. And you know, you look at things like that. The thing is, performance within context of time is the kind of like the let's say the tell-all. It tells you how these people came to their conclusions, and
George
it looks like to me
13th on that, and equal justice for all.
Yeah,
George Washington, the guy that didn't even want to be president.
Yeah, well, let's look at this. Just bear with me here, just a second here. Listen to this.
Okay.
What I checked was crisis leadership. Okay, that was the first category I pulled up. All right, crisis leadership. They have Barack Obama at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Number 14 in crisis management.
He's 15th.
15, okay. And 65, a score of 65. Well, I mean, how in the hell what do you mean crisis management? Are you talking about refugee resettlement? Because you sure as hell ain't talking about what's going on with ISIS and all the rest of it. You're not talking about anything that we've been really involved in. But here's where it kind of gets really kind of funny with me. For instance, you remember yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I mentioned William Harrison.
Yeah.
We were talking about Obama. He made it past the shortest term in presidency. William Harrison, 31 days in office. He died from pneumonia. Didn't want to wear a jacket at the inauguration, caught pneumonia, and died 31 days in office. Look at his score. Okay? Here's a guy that was in office 31 days, and he has a rating 32 for crisis management. What crisis did he deal with other than his pneumonia?
Other than getting sick?
Yeah, okay. Relations with Congress. He scores a 40. What relations with Congress? What interaction? He was bedridden for 31 days, for crying out loud. Okay? Vision, 40. He scores 40 in that.
Well, it's amazing. If you look at his overall score, he's 38th. He's ahead of John Tyler, Warren G. Harding, Franklin Pierce, Andrew Johnson, and James Buchanan. So what are they saying about those guys?
Yeah. Now, let's go to another one here. John Kennedy. All right? John Kennedy scored overall the 8th best president in the history of the United States.
Well, that's down from his 6th in 2009.
Okay. And in 2009, he was number 6. He's number 8 in this poll. And you got to explain to me how a man who never finished his first term in office rates so high on the scale. Well, look at what he's saying. Pursued equal justice for all. 71 score, a score of 71. All right, the Kennedys, in my opinion, the Kennedys are, John Kennedy's administration is the administration that introduced our country to the argument of socioeconomic justice.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was because it was during his tenure that Bobby Kennedy came into the picture, and Bobby Kennedy was a social justice advocate. That he just believed, oh yeah, we got to take care of the poor. It was through the Kennedy administration that we started out with things like food stamps, things like that, housing. Sure, Roosevelt brought us Social Security, but Kennedy introduced food stamps, because I remember my father getting them. He was out of a job for a while, and we had food stamps for 3 months until he got back to work. So I remember the Kennedy administration are the ones that brought that about. Johnson brought in what? Medicare. Okay, so the socioeconomic agenda was well underway by the time these people came in office. Kennedy scores 79 on the crisis leadership. I'll give him that. The Cuban Missile Crisis, yeah, I'll give him that. Moral authority. You kidding me? A score 66? This guy who apparently him and his brother banged anybody that would stand still? No, I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. I don't know how you come up with that score. But here's a man that didn't even serve out a full 4-year term, and he's ranked as number 8 in this particular poll in terms of his efficiency and effectiveness as president. I can't buy that. I'm sorry. Can't do it. But when you look at...
They project the what could have been, on this. What could have been? Well, and they're making it up, basically.
Well, obviously, but they're making it up within what? The last group here that we're talking about, performance within context of times.
Yeah.
Okay, as you pointed out here, Barack Obama scored a 67 on that. There were other people that scored higher, a lot higher, within the context of times, and rightfully so. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Roosevelt. These were people that all served during the war, and they all held the highest integrity of putting the country first. I don't agree with Franklin Roosevelt's ideology and the things that he did, but he was the guy that got us through World War II for all intents and purposes. You got to hand him that, all right? Harry Truman, 88, scored 80. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan. Okay, yeah, these are all... Now, here's one that really pisses me off. Woodrow Wilson gets a score of 71. Woodrow Wilson is the first elected president that was a political science major, and actually is the guy that really brought to the forefront the idea of progressivism in government.
Oh yeah,
he created the central banking system that we have today.
Oh, he got the IRS.
He was the one that led segregation in the military.
Yep.
There's a lot of things about this guy, and you're going to sit there and tell me that he was a leader?
Yeah. So he has a moral authority rating of 75.7.
Unbelievable.
God, it was The Birth of a Nation was like the first movie shown in the White House. It was nothing but a recruiting video or a movie for the Klan.
Oh yeah, well, but this is the one we'll use this. We'll talk about this one just before our break here. Moral authority. Barack Obama falls number 7 on moral authority. Give me a freaking break. This guy would have sold his mother into slavery if it would have advanced his agenda. For crying out loud. Give me a break.
They did get it right with Clinton, though. He's down there at 33.
Yeah. Well, he's down towards the bottom, and rightfully so. But he's even higher than Nixon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I would put Nixon at a low morality in terms of what morality really means. Ethics, yeah, maybe. Okay, but Richard Nixon, William Clinton. You can interchange either one of those. Anyway, we got to go to a break. When we get back, we'll move on to another topic here. I just thought it worthy of mentioning here. And we'll see 10 years from now where Barack Obama falls on this list. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
Red State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-380-2906. That's 800-380-2906. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-380-2906.
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American.
Okay, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and I want to kind of shift gears here. We're going in. I'm going in kind of a circular motion. Just stay with me during the course of the day, and you'll understand where where I'm headed here. The first 100 days of Donald Trump, you'll remember, I believe it was a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had on our contributor panel member, Scott Faulkner. And it was, I believe it was just like a week after the inauguration. And Scott was emphasizing to us that Trump had to move fast, that he had to, within the first 100 days, use the momentum that has been built up to put things in place and get the ball rolling. We also acknowledged the fact that he was going to have a lot of opposition, including those who purportedly are on his side in the Republican Party. And what difference with Donald Trump and probably any other president that I can recollect in my mind is that he not only has Democrats against him and the media against him, he's got his own party against him. For all intents and purposes. Yeah, they play nice when they're in front of the screen, but behind the scenes, I doubt that's what's going on here. So anyway, I think what the objective is and the sense of urgency that the left is trying to put out into the public arena and try to influence the public is that they've got to do everything they can to stop him within the first 100 days of really accomplishing anything. And we see it by some of the accusations. As we pointed out, Chris Wallace, talking to Rush Limbaugh over the weekend, pointed out that, well, by this time, Obama already had his program passed, his stimulus plan, and we corrected that. Understand that stimulus plan was already in place. It just needed to be voted on. George W. Bush is the one responsible for that stimulus plan. Barack Obama is the one, and I don't know if I remember right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but I think that there were some things in that that were tweaked by Barack Obama before that actually, was actually signed by him, and that's why Rush Limbaugh alluded to the fact that it basically was money that was supposed to pad unions, and by the way, that was money that went to companies like Solyndra that are now bankrupt, gone, been history for a long time, that kind of thing. But that whole thing had been put in place before Barack Obama left office. So it was easy. He had a Democratic majority in the Congress at that time and the Senate, and it was easy to pass.
Yeah, well, he had a veto-proof majority.
I'm sorry?
He had a veto-proof majority.
Yeah.
Basically, it wasn't like it is now, and the Republicans right now have a majority in Congress, but Mitch McConnell, for whatever reason, I don't know, wants to do things the way they used to be done before Harry Reid decided to go ahead and use the quote-unquote nuclear option because he used to have 60 votes in the Senate to do everything. A supermajority, basically. Now, Harry said, no, screw that. All I want is a simple majority. And now Mitch McConnell wants to go back to the old ways.
Well, I have a thought about that. I've been thinking about that. Why would McConnell want to go back to the old ways? I think, personally, for my opinion, it's a stall tactic.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing more than that. It's like, and And that's the reason why President Trump was out there going, well, if we have to go nuclear, we'll go nuclear. We'll just do it. And I think Trump ought to just.
I think McConnell.
He ought to do more what he did over the weekend.
I think McConnell wants to do
bully pulpit to what's sickening.
I think McConnell wants to do what Harry Reid did. He wants to create an environment in which all these bills and legislation, everything comes into the Senate, can get set on a desk somewhere and just draw dust while we try to figure out what we're going to do. You know, that Harry Reid did it to obstruct. He wouldn't allow the Republicans to introduce anything. I think it was over 300 pieces of legislation that were sitting on the Senate desk when he lost the majority in the Senate. And I'm probably still 300 there that the Republicans have never moved on since Mitch McConnell became the majority leader. I haven't heard of them passing anything. Maybe their little tiny stuff like, okay, let's name the water cooler on behalf of one of our departed colleagues or something like that. But I haven't seen them move any major legislation, and they've been the majority now for a good number of years. Enough years that something should have been happening by now. That kind of thing. So, but anyway, what I'm getting to is the objective here and why we're seeing things like the massive, not massive, I'm going to say rowdy gatherings at town hall events. That kind of stuff. The collusion, the organizers out there trying to create the illusion that there's just mass chaos in the public square over the election of Donald Trump. It's to do everything they can to get so that at the end of 100 days, Trump doesn't have anything. And in not having anything, they have the argument or the narrative, look, this guy can't govern. He can't govern. He can't even get anything passed. And Republicans, of course, sitting there in their little complicit foxholes, just, we believe in small government. Yeah, we support Donald Trump. He's just Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush with a Twitter account. They'd be doing the same thing, all that other crap that they're feeding us right now. In line with that, of course, what we are hearing a lot about is what Trump isn't doing, or what he hasn't done, or what he has attempted to do but can't get through. And, of course, we're talking about the immigration. Here's the deal. I'm going to say this, and then we're going to go on, and we're going to move into the actual topic itself here. One of the things that I really believe at this point in time is that the whole idea of undermining Donald Trump rests on two things right now. And the first and most important, of course, is Obama's legacy. All these town hall meetings are almost all of them centered on the repeal of Obamacare. Almost every single one of them are people showing up, talking, worried about Obamacare being dismantled or repealed. And if the Republicans replace it, what are they going to replace it with? Are we going to go back to pushing Granny off the cliff in a wheelchair? That kind of thing.
Yes, let's do that. Let's go push her off the damn cliff already. I'm tired of hearing about her.
But the reason behind this, it's not Obamacare that is the reason for this push. It is Obama that is the reason for this push. Think about this. If Obamacare gets repealed and replaced, as they say, if that happens, his signature legislation is in the trash. Therefore, that is going to reflect on his legacy. That is the most important thing right now because all the Democrats have left to rely on at this point in time is Obama's legacy. That's why Donald Trump is being called a fascist and everything else. There's nothing that Donald Trump is doing or said that should lead anybody to the conclusion that he's acting in a fascist manner. The fascist manner was already perpetrated by the man who sat in the White House 8 years before him. The man who said, we're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. The man who divided this country once again down very clear racial, socioeconomic lines and used that to divide and conquer for his own purposes, his own agenda, which I still believe is world domination at the UN. All right, the United States was just a stepping stone for him. It was a resume filler. I've got experience. The same way that Secretary Clinton took the Secretary of State position because nobody thought she had any foreign policy experience. She thought, okay, I've filled in that little hole in my resume. Now make me president. That kind of thing. So this is what this whole thing is, and that's why there's such a sense of urgency coming out of the left right now, is that if Donald Trump accomplishes anything in the first 100 days, the fervor and Obama's legacy is going to be at stake. If the Republicans can manage to pull something off and dismantle Obamacare, Obama's legacy, for all intents and purposes, is dead. Because that is what he hung his entire legacy on, the socialization, nationalization of the medical industry, which is a major plank in the Marxist manifesto, and how you take control of a government and how you take control of a people. Certain things you have to do. You have to control the media, you have to control their health care, and you have to control the economy. Obama has been trying to do all three. He was fairly successful, especially when it comes to controlling the media. Obamacare gave him that leverage. He loses that. The Democrats, for all intents and purposes, are now completely and totally dead because let's say that the Republicans do repeal and replace, and what they offer actually works. I'm not saying it will because I don't think government can do anything that works. But let's say it does. Let's say it drives down costs. Let's say it increases some competition. Let's say it does become actually more affordable. We got a problem here. The whole socialist mantra is completely destroyed. Think about that as we go to our break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adult in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
We need to keep illegals out.
And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
All right, hey, we're back. And this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And I want to, maybe we can kind of lead into the next topic here by covering the last aspect of the Wallace interview over the weekend, because I want to get into this. I'm trying to lead from one place to another. We're talking about the Obama administration and the intensity with the resistance of the Trump administration and why that is so important and imperative to the leftists, that it endangers Barack Obama's legacy, undoing his signature legislation that catapulted him into the iconic sphere of leftists.
Well, hey, let's think about something else along with that, John. Not only does it destroy Obama's legacy, but it also puts a death knell into the Democrat Party, because if this happens and Trump gets to do some things and he's successful at doing it, he's going to have a second term, because who is going to run? Who's going to run against him if he's successful in his first term? What are they going to do? The Republicans can go, look, we said we were going to do these things, and we did these things. These are the things that needed to be done, and they are working for you. So do you want to go back to the failed policies of the Barack Obama regime and administration and have, I mean, look what's possibly going to happen to the Democrat Party. I think next week, I think they're supposed to vote on who's going to be their leader for the Democrat Party, and the guy that's in the front runner seat right now is Keith Ellison, the Muslim out of Minnesota.
A radical Muslim.
Huh?
Not just a Muslim, a radical Muslim for all intents and
And
purposes.
he is exactly that. And, I mean, to the point where, hey, this guy is out there carrying the water for Louis Farrakhan, and they're out there going, Al Akbar for Louis over the weekend. So it's kind of like, okay, you people, that's where you're going to go. That's where you're going to take that party. Okay, good, go for that. So it's not just about Obama's legacy. It's what's going to be the death knell to that party if the Republicans succeed at anything.
Oh yeah, and it's obvious because we're even hearing this from the leftist strategists out there. They're talking about the death. One of the first things, what was it? For every article, the first couple of weeks after Trump's election, for every article that was trying to delegitimize him, there was an article saying the Democrat Party, for all intents and purposes, has imploded. You know, they're always trying to make such a big deal about the dysfunction of the Republican Party. What about the dysfunction of the Democrat Party? And a lot of people know this. A lot of people on the left know that Bernie Sanders was sabotaged. That they know that there was collusion. They know Hillary Clinton is guilty of sin. And
I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know if you remember. You're talking about state-run media. Well, I don't know if people remember this, but John Podesta invited the media into an off-the-record little dinner party at his house during the election campaign. I mean, he invited all these media types to come over and just talk and just shoot the breeze.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but right. To your bigger point, Joe, and that's what I was alluding to when I was talking here, that if Donald Trump is able to do anything that he says he's going to do, and understanding that he is so far at least initiated almost everything he said he was going to do. He's talked about the trade agreements. He's starting to looking at building the wall, the repeal and replace, the immigration problem. He's already trying to address it. Now, of course, he's being attacked, and the Republicans are trying to stall, as they normally do. But the point being is if he pulls any of this off, and especially in this first year of his administration, I don't expect a whole lot of him in the first 100 days just because of the collusion that's going on. He's still got to get some people in place in his cabinet and stuff, but he's at least initiated some things. And once he gets what he wants in terms of personnel, I think they're gonna accelerate at a massive pace. And if we're looking at here, they're already talking about the repeal Obama thing before the end of the year. Trump is saying within the next 60 days they're going to have their tax reform plan out. You know, so there's already things going on here. And if he pulls any of this off, especially if they happen to just accidentally offer something better than Obamacare, because it'll be accident if it happens. But if they do, yeah, Obama is dead, and as Obama goes, so goes the Democrat Party. And that's the problem of the Democrats is everybody, attached their wagon to Obama. They put all their eggs in one basket. And I think as time goes on here, more and more things are going to be revealed about just how shabby Barack Obama really was as a president, just how ineffective he was. He was great at promoting his own career and feeding his own ego. Boy, Donald Trump is an egotist compared to who? There's a difference between hubris and confidence.
Well, you don't become president without having an ego. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, there is a massive difference between being confident in who you are and just being a narcissist ass, And I think Barack Obama felt more into the latter description than the former. Mm-hmm. But it remains to be seen here. So I'm thinking that, and what we want to do here, what I want to do here, let's do this. We're coming up on a break in about 2 minutes here. Do we have time to play that Karl Rove clip?
Yeah, we got time for that.
Yeah, we'll play that, and that'll introduce us into the next segment, which I want to talk about more about what's going on in the Resist Trump movement.
Okay.
All right, let's do that. This is Karl Rove on Chris Wallace, and Wallace asked him about Donald Trump's comments about the press being the enemy of the people.
All right, here we go.
When the media lies to people, I will never, ever let them get away with it. I will do whatever I can that they don't get away with it. They have their own agenda, and their agenda is not your agenda.
Well, obviously that wasn't the news conference. That was the rally, but it was the same message, Carl. And I want to ask you, and be honest, tell me if you think I'm overreacting about the president's tweet on Friday that the fake media is not my enemy, it's the enemy of the American people.
Yeah. Well, enemy of the American people, that's a term we used for the Axis powers and the Viet Cong and Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the Taliban. I think it was over the top and unnecessary.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Carl.
So Karl Rove is siding with Chris Wallace and the elites that Donald Trump's reference to the media being the enemy of the people was over the top, and it was a term that's used to describe none other than a fascist regime or the Al-Qaeda, a terrorist regime, or the Viet Cong, a communist regime. So that's a Republican operative. This is Mr. Operative.
Yep.
Karl Rove is not just a operative of the Republican Party. He is the model for operatives in the Republican Party, and he is siding with the media and alluding to the fact that Donald Trump is looking at the media as enemy of the people, meaning he wants a fascist regime.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. That Carl is part of the problem.
Yeah, completely disregarding the fact that Obama controlled the media, which is a state-run media. It is a state-run media. We got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Time for the Edwards Notebook. We'll pay some bills. Stay with us right here.
The never-ending campaign against President Trump. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. The election of Donald Trump for President of the United States represents the desire of many Americans to see our republic rescued from utter oblivion. Of course, we the people who desire America to be great again are not so naive to think that Trump alone can improve the fortunes of the United States. However, we do know that the president is the commander-in-chief who has certain powers and responsibilities which are enumerated in the U.S. Constitution. The president is supposed to do all he can to protect the United States of America. Also, the last time I checked, when it comes to the issue of defending our country, it would not hurt if Congress and the judicial branch would agree. But unfortunately, we live at a time when a large segment of government and society are positioned to expend all of their energies to stop the administration of Donald J. Trump. Of course, on the surface, it seems like it's a political battle, but also it is spiritual in nature. You see, you have the progressive Democrats at war against Christian influences that are a major part of the foundation of what has been great about our republic. I'm Ron Edwards.
Blowing away the myths and revealing the truth. You can continue to blow away the myths with Ron Edwards on Facebook, Twitter, and theronedwards.com.
Middle America doesn't have an anger problem. It's got an idiot problem. The Conservative Syndicate, doing our part to eradicate the disease of idiocracy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Since its founding, America has always been admired and envied throughout the world for its system of government, one that empowers its citizens to seek their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No other country or nation in history has benefited from its diversity, simply due to the opportunities available to anyone from anywhere. But there have been and are those who envy our freedom for a very different reason. And today we find ourselves as never before being threatened by this formidable foe intent on our destruction. For this reason, Act for America exists. Act for America is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots national security organization with over 300,000 members and 1,000 chapters focused on educating, engaging, and mobilizing citizens and elected officials to impact legislative outcomes to protect America against terrorism both here and abroad. As a result, our network has driven the education process toward the successful passage of 43 bills in 22 states. We continue to expand our nationwide volunteer chapter network, training citizens to recognize and help prevent criminal activity and terrorism in the United States while preserving the civil liberties protected by the United States Constitution. To find out more, check us out at actforamerica.org. That's actforamerica.org.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews,
the latter-day prophet, saying against the hypocrisies of our time,
and Joe Hakos.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, we're back. Hour 2 right here at the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. Since we're in our short segment here, I want to launch right into this. In the last hour, we were talking about the necessity, the sense of urgency that the left has in trying to stop Trump, particularly right now at this point in time, trying to obstruct, hinder, slow down, or even stop Trump's first 100 days, trying to keep him from accomplishing anything. So at the end of that 100 days, which a lot of people measure our president by, what they do in their first 100 days, and to try to paint the picture that, of course, we have an illegitimate president and unqualified, unfit, and perhaps even mentally unstable. I mean, those are just some of the narratives that are floating out there. And I want to share with you an article here because I got just a few minutes in this segment, but this will help us break into the topic in depth when we get back here. This is from the Good Morning America people. The note, the Trump administration new immigration rules. Day number 34. See, they're tracking it day by day, what the Trump administration is doing each and every day. And Trump's first 100 days with ABC's Rick Klein and Susanna Walsh. And so they're tracking Trump every single day. And they break it down into what they call big story, sleeper story, and the shiny story. A little paragraph on each one. The big story is President Trump declared Tuesday, just hours before fresh immigration guidance was issued, that stokes fears of the tearing families apart. Stokes fears of tearing families apart. We have to fight bigotry, intolerance, and hatred in all forms, very ugly forms, the president also said, hours before a senior advisor confirmed that the new travel ban will mean that those basic policies are still going to be in effect, as were ordered under the old one, impacting the same seven predominantly Muslim countries. The words aren't matching the deeds in a White House that has already established that its words matter less than ever, due to the ease with which it has used those words to mislead and deflect. All right, there it is. That's the big story, and you see the narrative there. He's lying.
You can keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
Yeah, there you go. Now here's the sleeper story. Quiet first day meeting for the staff of the new EPA Administrator, Scott Pruitt. This is the beginning. And they go on to say what? Pruitt's initial address to workers did not mention environmental degradation or climate change. Instead, he focused on making it easier for companies to comply with regulations. All right, so the idea is, okay, they're climate change deniers, the world is going to burn up. All right, the shiny story. President Trump's latest Twitter attack targeted liberal activists whom he tweeted have planned out the so-called angry crowds in home districts of some Republicans. We're talking about the town halls and the veracity of anger being distributed and, demonstrated towards people going home from the Republican Party. An organization, this is organized, and the media is doing everything they can to tell us it's not. This is a grassroots movement. And that's why I brought this up. First 100 days, discredit, distract, obstruct, hinder, block, and stop or prevent Trump from doing anything. And they do it through this narrative that Trump is just totally disconnected with what's actually happening, and he actually doesn't understand the level of the outrage of the majority of the American people who are now disenchanted with him being elected president, which is a bunch of crap. It is those whiny, squeaky wheels that are being organized by much larger organizations. And that's what Trump is referring to, that these town halls are being planned out. And by the way, many of them who are at these town halls are admitting it, are actually admitting it. Yeah, they are some part, they've been organized, they're being recruited, they're being, prompted to go to these things. Now, I said all that because we got to go to break here. When we come back, we're going to look at a couple of these organizations that are out there that nobody wants to talk about in terms of who's actually running the show. And we want to get, and along with that, also the narrative that actually the show is a grassroots organization comparable to the Tea Party. I'm going to give you some comparisons between leftist organizations and how they operate compared to what the Tea Party was and how it operated. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adult in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring. I don't... Since its founding, America has always been admired and envied throughout the world for its system of government, one that empowers its citizens to seek their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No other country or nation in history has benefited from its diversity simply due to the opportunities available to anyone from anywhere. But there have been and are those who envy our freedom for a very different reason. And today we find ourselves as never before being threatened by this formidable foe intent on our destruction. For this reason, Act for America exists. Act for America is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots national security organization with over 300,000 members and 1,000 chapters focused on educating, engaging, and mobilizing citizens and elected officials to impact legislative outcomes to protect America against terrorism both here and abroad. As a result, our network has driven the education process toward the successful passage of 43 bills in 22 states. We continue to expand our nationwide volunteer chapter network, training citizens to recognize and help prevent criminal activity and terrorism in the United States while preserving the civil liberties protected by the United States Constitution. To find out more, check us out at actforamerica.org. That's actforamerica.org.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
And now back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
All right, we're back right here at the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and I want to get into, we really want to spend some time, because that's what we do in this show. We educate, inform, and engage. And I want to really spend a little bit of time here talking about one organization that has just come to light. I just learned of this organization today, but it's important not so much what the organization is, but who's behind it. Because as we've said here, the idea that Barack Obama is some kind of tyrant, dictator, Nazi, fascist, we were leveling the same charges at Obama, a Marxist, socialist, communist, but there was much more evidence to prove that, his entire past. Donald Trump, at best, we could say his past was liberal. Okay, we can say that. But we never heard Donald Trump, as a liberal, talk about fundamentally transforming the United States of America. We never heard Donald Trump talking about having to take care of all the socioeconomic injustices in the country, as did Barack Obama. His entire agenda and everything was focused around what I've referred to many times in the show, creative destruction.
Well, you never heard about Donald Trump sitting in a church pew for 20-some years that spewed just social injustice and black liberation theology for 20-some years. You never heard Donald Trump ever.
No, and then denying it, and then denying that he ever heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
After telling us the pastor was one of his mentors who inspired him to write the book that made him famous, but he never heard him talk. He never heard him rant against white America.
Yeah,
right. It doesn't get any better than that, huh? You talk about spinning and lying, outright lying. So anyway, I want to replay. I asked Joe to cue up the Karl Rove clip with Chris Wallace, because it'll just kind of set the atmosphere. Let's give it a little ambience here before we get into our discussion. Go for it, Joe.
Here we go.
When the media lies to people, I will never, ever let them get away with it. I will do whatever I can that they don't get away with it. They have their own agenda, and their agenda is not your agenda.
Well, obviously that wasn't the news conference. That was the rally, but it was the same message, Carl. And I want to ask you, and be honest. Tell me if you think I'm overreacting about the president's tweet on Friday that the fake media is not my enemy, it's the enemy of the American people.
Yeah. Well, enemy of the American people. That's a term we used for the Axis powers and the Viet Cong and Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the Taliban. I think it was over the top and unnecessary.
All right, so Karl Rove, chief Republican operative, not strategist, operative, big difference, alludes to the fact that, yes, Donald Trump is using terminology and words that a fascist would use, comparing it to the Nazi regime, the ISIS, the terrorist regimes that are out there, Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and, of course, the communist regime, the Viet Cong, North Vietnamese. And, true, all these things were said about the media by these various factions and tyrants that ran them, okay? But Donald Trump was alluding to something bigger than that. Let's just kind of put a little bit of context here, just a little bit of context. If the media is attacking the president for the purpose of circumventing him, I'm not talking about being critical of what the president is doing. There's a big difference. Freedom of the press allows them to constitutionally criticize and attack the policies and the actions of the president. And actually, I believe that is, to a great degree, their responsibility to do that. I have no issue with criticizing a president's actions and policies. No problem at all. We do it here, okay? So, yeah, freedom of speech. It's not freedom of the press, by the way. It's freedom of speech. Press just happens to be one of the elements of the First Amendment that can't be sequestered or run involuntarily by the state. All right, so we're talking about a state-run media, and that's what that's what the media is trying to say Donald Trump is alluding to, that we need a state-run media. The government needs to determine what the media can say. Trump has never alluded to that in any way, shape, or form. But to the bigger point, when the media is out and colluding to help undermine a president, to circumvent the Constitution, and to completely obstruct what the president is doing rather than commentate on what he is doing, trying to hinder him from doing it, that to me falls under subversion. And that to me, as far as I can recall, is subject to felony charges. So the media is actually guilty of colluding to subvert the government, in my opinion. That's what makes them an enemy of the people. It's not that they're criticizing President Trump. It's that they're aligning themselves and colluding with those who want to delegitimize his presidency and have him removed for their own purposes. There you go. That's the difference. And that's what Trump is alluding to. Now, having said that, we found an organization today. Joe found this organization, sent me a link to it. I don't even know how to term this one. I mean, this is up there with organizations like Pink. They just totally estrogen overloaded neo-Nazi feminists that just don't have anything better to do in their life. Some of these women need to hang out with Sandra Fluke for a while and maybe, calm down a little bit. Anyway, and I think you have a clip, Joe. Do you have a clip? This woman here, what was her name?
She was Sunsara Taylor. Sunsara Taylor.
Okay. She appeared on Tucker Carlson, and she, I think nut job is probably the most accurate word I've heard, okay?
She said that President Trump is more dangerous than Hitler.
Yeah, and she is part of an organization. We'll hear the clip first, and then we'll get into the actual organization. She's she's leading or heading or help running an organization called Refuse Fascism. And you got your clip queued up, Joe. Anytime you're ready, you can play that, and we'll go from there.
All right, here you go. Tucker Carlson and Sunsara Taylor from last night.
this man with his finger on the nuclear weapon. We need to recognize that he has to be driven from office through mass political resistance before it is too late. Fascism advances through stages.
Okay,
shock, awe,
this
violence,
is silly. You
and
don't
then periods of
oppose
normalization.
fascism with political resistance, but whatever, you may not know
Actually,
that.
it would have taken millions and millions to rise up to stop Hitler. It absolutely would have.
But what do you
and it's
think?
what people should have done.
Okay, may I
and it
ask
is
you a real
shameful.
question?
It is
get
shameful
You're
for you to
morally
dismiss
outraged,
this.
but hold on, I know it's shameful. But let me just ask you this.
It's
No,
funny
this is
to
your
you.
question. So the 62
No, because
million...
I know you love to carry water for this criminal, this war criminal wannabe.
know,
And
okay. Right.
he's
But
itching.
hold on.
You
It's
find
not
that as
just-
petty matter?
There were 62...
Tucker, you find that petty? You find that
I'm
a
trying
petty
to ask you a
concern that he
real-
wants to...
I know that you're
it
very
is
petty,
real.
but I'm trying to ask you a
Nuclear
real
weapons
question.
are
Don't
as
make me
serious
cut
as
you
you
off.
can
I just
be.
want to ask you... Okay, let me ask you one last question, okay? 62 million people voted for Trump, and disproportionately, they were people at the lower end of the income scale.
Oh,
they were,
God.
They were actually. They were middle class and below, mostly. Opposed to Trump were, I don't know, the hedge fund managers and privileged people like you. Did you ever think to yourself, like, why is the
Can I tell
middle
you something?
class...
He
Well,
lost
you've
the
taken time
popular
off
vote.
to-
He lost the popular
Okay,
vote,
but
and no election,
he did.
fair or
He did.
fraudulent, no election,
But you
fair or
still had-
fraudulent, can justify ripping up the
Please-
rule of law,
please answer my
undermining the
que-
courts, threatening and shutting down
You're
the
saying
press.
that you should throw a duly elected president out of office.
No, I'm
So
saying
don't lecture
people
me about
should
the rule
resist.
of
In
law.
yes, that's what he means when he says so-called judge. That's what he means when he fires an attorney general who disagrees with
What I
his
want
laws.
to do, what I want to do is
What you
get
want
to
to
how
do is
you think.
normalize fascism.
All right.
What you want to do is try to
I'm giving up,
caricature
Senator.
and
I'm
dismiss
giving up.
people
This
who
is
are
too
telling the
obnoxious
truth.
for me. Thanks, though.
So anyway, according to this woman, that if millions of people would have stood up to Adolf Hitler, that he would not have been able to do what he did. Well, I'm sorry, Miss Taylor. Adolf had plenty of bullets, and he would have taken. He had more than 1 million bullets. He's used every last one of them. You can't. Tyrants like Hitler don't care about your little protest in the street, or wherever the hell you think you're going to do it. And to call Donald Trump a criminal, he's a criminal? What criminal? He hasn't done anything criminal.
No criminal acts as far as we know.
No, it's not his little temporary travel ban in 7 predominantly Muslim countries is not illegal one bit. In fact, the circuit, the appeals court that ruled on it never even mentioned the order in their little dissertation. They said, "Oh, it's things that candidate Trump said that bothered them so much, not President Trump, candidate Trump."
Yeah, well, that's an important point. That's an important point. These rulings that stopped the implementation of Donald Trump's restrictions on immigration, not banning banning immigrants, restricting who could come in until they could find out what's going on here. And let's keep it in context here. That's what it was all about. It wasn't about banning it, because as soon as that word is used, it fits into the bigger narrative, which this woman is trying to articulate and not even doing a very good job of that, is that Donald Trump's hatred of Muslims, of course, extends to every other demographic that is highly liberal and that leans more towards the liberals. We're talking about, yes, not just Muslims. It's the LGBT community. It's the Mexicans. It's the black people. It's the Latino people. It's everybody. He hates everybody. Everybody, according to their website, everybody except for those who that submit to their vision and plan for a nation cohered around white supremacy and a political form of Christian fundamentalism that should rightly be called Christian fascism. All right, I'm looking at the website here now because there was a lot of, there's a lot of crosstalk in the conversation there between Tucker and this lady. And me having the hearing deficiency that I have, couldn't make out everything that she was saying. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to the website and at least understand what's in it. And I told Joe before the show, I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on this because to me it's just another whack job. We can listen to rants from Pink and some of these other organizations that just go out there and disrupt. But this is a protest organization. This is an organization created for the sole intent and purpose of inciting protests and demonstrations. All right? When I said we'll get in a little bit later, comparisons to the Tea Party, because that's what the left is trying to tell us, that this is a grassroots movement. Anyway, so I went to the website. It's called Resist Fascism. I think that's the name of it, right? Resist Fascism. That's the name of the site. And let me just read a couple of the words off of this website.
You don't have time for that, John. You don't have time.
Yeah, we got to go to
right
break.
now.
When we come back, I'm going to read you a couple of clips off this website and see if you don't see some similarities to somebody that occupied the White House 8 years before Donald Trump. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
Red State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-380-2906. That's 800-380-2906. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-380-2906.
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American.
All right, hey, we're back. Excuse me there. I just got a frog in my throat there real quick. Welcome back to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, and I'm glad you took the time to join us. And along with Joe Hakels, we're trying to do the best we can do here to do what we've been called to do, and that is to teach, engage, inform, and engage you, our listening audience, on the politics of religion and the religion of politics. And we've got a religious nut job here we're talking about. What was her name again? The news site that I pulled this off of didn't even feel it appropriate to tell us what her name was. Oh, anyway, this nut job on Tucker Carlson talking about Donald Trump as a fascist. He's a fascist running a fascist regime, and we need to, as the people, we the people, need to do everything we can to drive this man and his cohorts out of office. So I thought it appropriate here to look at their website. It inspired me to look at their website. And I'm going to read you just a couple of things off of their website, identifying what they do, what their mission is, what their goals and objectives are. And then we'll get to the brunt of it as to who's actually behind it. This is the information that you need, all right? It starts out here. If you go to the website, I think it's called Refuse Fascism is the name of it. refusefascism.org if you want to go check it out on your own. It starts out by saying, in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. Drive out the Trump-Pence regime. The Trump-Pence regime is a fascist regime. Not insult or exaggeration. This is what it is. For the future of humanity and the planet, we the people must drive this regime out. Now, I want you to pay attention to this next line here and just ask yourself the question here, or I'll ask it for you, okay? Donald Trump and Mike Pence have assembled a vicious cabal that has put forth positions and begun initiatives which demonstrate that they fully intend to shred political and social norms with catastrophic consequence. Because Trump has his finger on the nuclear trigger, the Trump-Pence regime is more dangerous to the world than even Hitler. Now, I've got to ask you, if we were to play the devil's advocate just for a moment and say that Donald Trump wants to be a tyrant, is there anything that gives even the slightest hint that he's out for world domination? He's got his finger on nuclear warheads. What does that mean? Is he going to blow up America? Is he going to go out and blow up Detroit or all the liberal urban centers out there? How does that even play into the narrative that he's not a legitimate president? I guess what they're saying is America would be the first step to world domination, and he'd be willing to blow the world up in order to be Hitler, that kind of thing. It's amazing to me. Now, in line with that, let me just get the rest of my notes here lined up in front of me so I don't get Okay, now, the idea here being is that somehow Donald Trump got elected to office outside the norms of the election process. And I know, Joe, you've got comments on this, so I'll give you the mic here for a minute. You there? Hello?
Yes, John, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, so I just kind of remember what this woman was saying in her rant before Tucker Carlson said, "I've had enough. I can't deal with this woman anymore." Because she wouldn't shut up to let him say anything. She would just insult him and whatever, just claim him for carrying the water for this fascist criminal. I think she is the word she used. Would these people be doing this if Hillary Clinton was sitting in the White House right now?
Yeah, and let's look at it the other way. Of course, if Hillary Clinton had won the election, we wouldn't be having all this. It would be Donald Trump and his supporters have to accept the results. And
okay. Well, here's the other thing. All right, I just thank God every day that our republic was set up in such a way that we did not elect a president in this nation according to the will of one or two states in our union, which is exactly what these people keep claiming. He did not win the popular vote. No, he was constitutionally elected according to the laws of this country, not criminally. If there's anybody that's a criminal in the White House, that would have been Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, without a doubt, and that's not exaggeration either. That's fact. This woman is a criminal.
Fact. It's a fact that anybody else would have been in jail for what they did with classified material. No, I have not forgotten about that. No. I have not forgotten one bit about her little email server, her private email server, and the classified material that was mishandled by the former Secretary of State.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And, it remains to be seen. But I think Trump is more focused on other things right now, like getting things fixed first. Then he'll have plenty of time to go after Hillary. Now, what I want to do here, this is what I want to do. I'm going to read you one more paragraph of this. And as I was reading this is the way my mind clicked as I was reading this. This site goes on to tell us that fascism has direction and momentum. Dissent is piece by piece criminalized. The truth is bludgeoned. Group after group is demonized and targeted along a trajectory that leads to real horrors.
Well, that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah. All of this has already begun under the Trump regime. History has shown that fascism must be stopped before it becomes too late. Now, I'm going to take these first three paragraphs. This is just the way my mind thinks. Because, boy, it sure sounded familiar to me, as Joe just said. I'm like, boy, where have I heard those words before? I'm thinking, well, gee, I think we've spoke those words on this show. Talking about the Obama regime. Talking about what we would have had if Hillary Clinton was elected. But it's a little bit different. Because I never really saw Barack Obama as a fascist. I saw him as a Marxist. And the reason I saw him as a Marxist and not a socialist, as many people like to label him, is that because socialism, Marxism, communism are all the same thing. They're just a different way of doing things. It's a different ends to a means to an end kind of thing. Marxism is more along Barack Obama's line of thinking because, as Joe mentioned earlier, 20 years in a black liberation theology church created by James Cone, who was an admitted Marxist. And so the idea that Jesus came to eradicate slavery and poverty is the basis of the Marxist thing. That we got to get rid of the bourgeois. We got to get rid of the upper class. And the workers need to take everything over. That's the thinking of a Marxist. That's really where Barack Obama wanted to go. The reason he was labeled a socialist was because he used some of the methods that socialists use, the nationalization of things. Marxism doesn't necessarily nationalize anything, but That would have been the eventual outcome, was Marxism. That is who Barack Obama was. He was a Marxist / socialist / communist. All right, that's so. Anyway, in context of that, I thought, I reread this thing, and I started plugging some words in because I'm just thinking, boy, if Hillary Clinton ever gets elected, we could take this website and we can make it something else. Resist Hillary, and we can say the same things here. Barack Obama. Let me read it to you, and I'm just going to substitute a couple words here so that you get the context of what I'm talking about. The Obama-Biden regime is a Marxist regime. Not insult or exaggeration, this is what it is. For the future of humanity and the planet, we, the people, must drive this regime out. Barack Obama and Joe Biden have assembled a vicious cabal that has put forth positions and begun initiatives which demonstrate that they fully intend to shred political and social norms with catastrophic consequence. Remember Barack Obama? We're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Because Obama has his finger on the nuclear trigger, the Obama-Biden regime is more dangerous to the world than even Stalin. Fascism, or Marxism, has direction and momentum. Dissent is piece by piece criminalized. The truth is bludgeoned. Group after group is demonized and targeted along a trajectory that leads to real horrors. All of this has already begun under the Obama regime. History has shown that Marxism must be stopped before it becomes too late. Now you think, well, John, you're exaggerating. No, there are people in Congress right now, people like the Black Caucus, all right, the Black Congressional Caucus. We just have a newly elected senator, Kamala Harris, from the state of California, God help us, who has already out here in California initiated policy and legislation to literally silence conservative views and voice if they are not in line with the doctrine that Governor Moonbeam has put in place out here. Literally, that is taking place as I speak right now. It's being debated, and they are already trying to figure out how are they going to silence the conservative voice out here. Now, this woman is now a senator. As I said, Barbara Boxer on steroids. At least Boxer tried to operate from behind the scenes. I tell you, you're going to hear a lot about this Kamala Harris as time goes on. She's going to make Maxine Waters look like a Republican. I guarantee you by the time this is all over. So I just wanted to do that. But now when we get back, I want to get to the brunt of why we're even talking about this. Who is behind it? Who is behind it? And it'll feed into the bigger picture of what's taking place amongst these quote-unquote protest groups, grassroots organizations, blah, blah, blah. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them the potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org. Am I not speaking English?
TheConservativeSyndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American.
All right, we're back. Hey, we do want to encourage you. Visit our website, TheConservativeSyndicate.net. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, and you can find out this. Well, you can find this archive, any of our archives. You'll find out anything you want to know about the show, the people that participate on our panel, why we do what we do, the way we do it. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. All right, I want to close up my comments here on the actual website that was being talked about here on the Tucker Carlson show with this young neo-Nazi feminist that was out there. I don't even know her name. It doesn't matter. Irrelevant. But she goes on. The website goes on to rant about how much of a fascist Trump is and what fascism is and how the world is, all endangered by it. And they ended it this way. They say that therefore we resolve that our single unifying mission must be to drive out the Trump-Pence regime. Now, they say this is a statement that this is where you got to pay attention to, because this will help you understand where I'm going to go after this. Every outrage committed by this regime must be met with greater and greater resistance. Now, that means we go from civil disobedience to what they're doing now, destruction of private property, to obstructing people from being able to get into work or being able to get into representatives being able to get into their office, blocking freeways, whatever it is, but it's greater and greater, meaning if we can't get what we want, we need to elevate it to a different level. Now that you're talking about terrorism. You're talking about domestic terrorism, and all in the name of being able to preserve our great democracy ruled by the mob. Now, that's what made me want to know who's actually behind this. So I found an article out there in Breitbart, and it's very Jerome Hudson. Celebrities call for month of resistance to fight fascist Trump. Now, this was published on January 5th. So this was before the inauguration. So I just want to give you that because let's keep it in context of what's going on here. Rosie O'Donnell, does that name ring a bell? Deborah Messing, Ed Asner, Michael Shannon are among the dozens of artists, entertainers, and activists who have attached their names to an effort calling for a month-long protest to stop President-elect Donald Trump. Now, that was the beginning of this particular movement here, refuse fascism. Not in the name of humanity, in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. All right, they put out ads out in the New York Times, blah, blah, blah. All right, now, the group is encouraging a month of resistance to protest Trump. This is back in the beginning of January, which it hopes will reach a crescendo by his inauguration on January 20th. The Trump regime must be stopped and can be stopped before it starts, the ad reads. The group urges its supporters to step up the resistance, walkouts from schools and work, protest against attacks and threats on Muslims, women, people of color, LGBT people, all linked to the objective of stopping the Trump-Pence regime. See that they link everything together. Now, here's the punchline, guys. The group's initiators include domestic terrorist turned education activist Bill Ayers, far-left professor Cornel West, and jazz musician Ted Sirota, among others. Bill Ayers, folks, remember that name? Remember that name? The man that helped Barack Obama launch his candidacy for the United States presidency? The man who was convicted of bombing the Pentagon, responsible for killing police officers when they bombed the police station out in San Francisco? Domestic terrorist, very nice description, very accurate description. Bill Ayers, the man who is helped organize Black Lives Matter. The man is behind the scenes doing his thing. The man who is part of a bigger organization you may recognize, Organizing for America, which used to be Obama for president. So what we have here is we have Barack Obama behind the scenes, pulling the strings, manipulating, still working to fundamentally transform the United States of America. And he's got a new set of pawns. Organizing for America has basically become the new acorn, and everything underneath it, everything you see out there transpiring in the streets, at town halls, anything that is disrupting, creating chaos, is part of Organizing for America. Your ex-president, Barack Obama, is doing this, leading it, condoning it, and helping to fund it through his organization. You got any comments, Joe?
Yeah, when's the last time you ever heard of an ex-president doing that sort of thing? George W. Bush was doing that to Barack Obama in his first 100 days of his presidency. Not. I'd like to read something that puts this kind of back into Obama. This is from David Horowitz's book, The Rules for Revolution, Barack Obama's Rules for Revolution by the Alinsky Model. Just this little paragraph. After Obama became U.S. Senator, his wife, Michelle, told a reporter, Barack is not a politician first and foremost. He's a community activist exploring the viability of politics to make change. And her husband commented, I take that observation as a compliment. So, yeah, he's a community activist, and he's activisting right now. He's calling for, hey, don't go near that Trump guy. In fact, you should resist him. Resist his fascist regime because, well, he's going to tear down my legacy.
Yeah, and so the narrative just continues and continues. I would just, as Joe was talking here, I had a little notification pop up in my screen here. The newest poll is out, Quinnipiac University poll. Donald Trump's approval rating, 38% now. He's just going down the toilet here. But when you look at the skew, 83% of Republicans say they approve of Donald Trump. 91% of the Democrats disapprove. So right away, that tells you right now, the poll, once again, was skewed towards the Democrats.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
So they just continue to feed this narrative. Keep feeding this narrative. And as George Goebel once said, you keep lying long enough and it punches through. I think, no, that was Alinsky who said that. Punches through and becomes the truth. That's what they're up to. That's what it's all about. It doesn't matter anymore whether we talk about truth or not when it comes to these people. It is the end justifies the means. That's always been the socialist mantra, Marxist mantra, communist mantra, leftist, progressive mantra, whatever you want to label it. It's always been the end justifies the means. If we have to lie, cheat, and steal, it's okay.
My question is if these people, these were some of the same people that said they were going to leave the country if Trump got elected. How come are they still here? How come they haven't left yet? If it's so horrible, please get on your horse and go. Yeah, I just, oh, good God. But it just be informed, folks. I mean, this isn't going to, this is my prediction here. This is not grassroots. This is AstroTurf. This is organized. This is everything you see at these town hall meetings that Republicans are holding is not just happenstance. This is planned out.
Yeah, I agree. It is planned. It's been planned, probably been in the works for a while, and it's being done now. It's being implemented to stop Trump. Because, once again, let's just reiterate what's at stake here. Obama's legacy. Obama dies, the Democrats die. Period. It's end of story. And that's the way it is here. Just looking at this poll real quick here. 41% of the voters think the country is heading in the right direction, up from 29%. Okay, so how can this guy be so unpopular if his numbers have doubled? The country is going in the right direction now. Doubled from when Barack Obama, not doubled, but almost doubled from when Barack Obama left office. And yet he's still unpopular. Amazing. Only a liberal could come up with that kind of logic. Anyway, guys, we're out of time here. We'll be back tomorrow to do the same thing. We'll have Scott Faulkner with us the entire show again. And he'll catch us up on what's going on with the Trump team out there. And I hope you enjoyed the show today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless you.
Live from the swamp tomorrow. Yes. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hayko, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.